Well, we're back for second half independent off-tube studio commentary of the game at the Vitality Stadium. The only goalless game in the 3 o'clock Premier League kickoffs today, but that doesn't mean to say we haven't had some entertainment in that first half. Brentford made the much better start, having a couple of decent chances. Bournemouth in having the ball in the net twice. First one ruled out for, rightfully so, for a handball. The second one, both myself and my colleague John Hogan couldn't quite work out exactly why the goal had been disallowed, other than potentially for a slight pull on Nathan Collins. But here come Bournemouth now with a quick ball into the penalty area. Easy claim there for Mark Flekken. So it is myself, Paul Szczerbakowicz, and John Hogan taking you through the action. John, 0-0 at the start of the second half, but I'm expecting us to see a goal at least in the second, do you think?
I don't see why not. I think because Brentford are dropping back into their own half when they're defending, it's allowing them to be attacked. They try counter. Here they go. Ivan Toney's ball with the outside of his right boot, not quite good enough there though. Yeah, so I think the game's fairly open. We've had the ball at the back of the net, but just nothing has stuck so far. Here we go with the bees now. Sorry, with the cherries.
It's a quick run down the right from Dango Ouattara. Gets the ball in towards Semenyo. Ouattara gets it back down the right-hand side. He's at the edge of the area. Been stopped here by Reguilon, but he breaks past him, gets into the penalty area. His cross is charged down by Pinnock. There's still half a chance here for Bournemouth on the right-hand side. Good work there from Semenyo to go back towards Adam Smith. And it's now with Ryan Christie switching the play over towards the left-hand side for Lloyd Kelly. And then the ball going back towards the halfway line. No changes at half-time, so it is Travers in goal for Bournemouth. Back four of Smith, Zabani, Senesi and Kelly. The two holding midfielders are Cook and Christie. The three ahead of them, Semenyo, Kluivert and Ouattara, with Solanke as the front man. For Brentford, it is Flekken in goal. Back four of Ajer, Collins, Pinnock and Sergio Reguilon. Three in midfield, Damsgaard, Norgard and Janelt, with Mbeumo, Lewis Potter and Tony as the front three, as Mbeumo was trying to get away here from Justin Kluivert. And again, I don't think there's a foul on Bryan Mbeumo there. It's like he was losing his balance with Kluivert stood by him, and then the referee gives him a free kick.
Yeah, that's clearly a weak spot for this referee. If anybody seems to be goal side, then you want to fall over because you're going to get a free kick. But we'll break off. Just
giving the ball away here in midfield, and it's Reguilon. He plays the ball square into Damsgaard. Damsgaard tries to thread the ball through. It might get through to Tony. It doesn't. It's still kept alive here by Lewis Potter on the left-hand side of the 6-yard box. His cross is charged down. Smith gets back to cover, and eventually the ball is out for a corner.
Well, Bournemouth lucky there. The ball is not ended up at the back of the net. It's given away, or more likely, really, just a little bit of sleeping. But it's really good work, isn't it, from Reguilon? Picks the ball off, and then it's pinging about in the box. You just think they needed a little bit more look at that point. But great play there by Reguilon.
Good work there from the Tottenham loanee. A lot of Brentford fans would like to see him stay here permanently, but of course he's only here to cover for Rico Henry. Once Henry's fit, you wouldn't really justify having both of them in your squad. As the corner kick comes in, doesn't cause too many problems for Bournemouth. It's all the way out on the left-hand side now. Smith then holds it up, and he was actually being held up as he tried to do so. So it's going to be a free kick to the Cherries.
Yeah, it's a good loan move, I think, for Reguilon, because he's showing what he can do. You go to one of those so-called bigger clubs, and it's like, well, yeah, we've got three of them, and if they don't fancy you, then they don't, But he's like in the shop window as well, isn't he? So, and yes, Brentford have got a player to come back, but you never quite know how that's going to work out. Anyway, they're two very good full backs, and if Brentford were able to keep both, they'd be strong in that area, wouldn't they?
Certainly would. So we'll wait and see, of course. Not sure that Reguilon has much of a future at Spurs, but he won't be short of a club, I don't think, once the end of the season, once they decide what his future is going to be. There's going to be a bit of a break in play here now. There's a player down for Bournemouth. It looks like it is Solanke that's gone up with Collins. Collins has got a bit of an arm out just to try and get himself some position whilst he's in the air, but in doing so, that elbow seems to have just come down by the side of Solanke's face there.
Yeah, it's one of those things again. There is contact, but it's almost like Solanke's jumping into an elbow. Collins is underneath the ball and he goes up for it. Solanke's running at him and jumping at him, but he's jumping into an elbow. I don't see that as a free kick at all, or indeed any kind of dangerous play. But it still hurts if you get on the end of it.
Well, it's going to be a drop ball here in Brentford's favour because the play was stopped whilst the Bees were in possession. Solanke's fine to play on. But in fact, because it was after a head injury, nice sporting play there from I think it was always going to be given back to Bournemouth anyway. So 50 minutes on the clock, 5 minutes into the second half. It is still goalless between Bournemouth and Brentford. Long ball straight down the middle here to try and pick out Solanke, but that's right at the edge of the Brentford penalty area. Comfortable save there for Mark Flekken. Christian Norgard now bringing the ball out for the Bees, square to Janelt. Now it's with Lewis Potter, who, well, he's going to get his... Oh, that's never a free kick. That is never a free kick.
I'll tell you what, Adam Smith there is stupid because he doesn't need to lay hands on Lewis Potter. You know, he's tried his little turn. It ain't going to work out for him.
It's not a foul, though, John, is it really? I mean, right, he's put his hands on him, but the way Lewis Potter has fallen... I'm quite surprised that the referee has gone for that, to be quite honest. And
I mean, it's a little thing, but I don't think Smith needs to be there.
No, I agree as well that it's the contact wasn't necessary, but to put an arm across a grown footballer's abs there for him to fall over, it's not natural there from Lewis Potter. In the end, it wasn't too big a deal. And then a long ball down the left-hand side for Bournemouth there. Semenyo was chasing that one.
I think
it's out for a Bees goal kick.
We want the referee to be better than he is. But he seems to me that he's falling for, players going down and playing the old soldier, and as soon as the word gets out about that he's that kind of referee, then we're going to see everybody at it, and that's unfortunate, but that's the way it is. So he needs to wise up and look at what he's got wrong in this game and go through it. Well, I guess they do that. I don't know what they do, but so far so deadly average, I'm afraid, for the referee.
Well, as I say, he's been caught out a couple of times with these fairly routine decisions, but Brentford now lose the ball in midfield, and Semenyo plays a quick one down the left-hand side. Kluivert's on the end of it, gets all the way to the byline, tries to turn away here from Collins, can't find the space for a cross. He uses the support of Antoine Semenyo. He now drops the shoulder, tries to find space for a cross, and combination of two Brentford players, Aya and Collins, and are able to not only win the ball back for the Bees but avoid a corner kick. But just 2 passes later, they've managed to lose the ball after a bit of a loose pass from Damsgaard. Bournemouth now back in possession in midfield here with Marcos Senesi. Sees options left and right, just takes the easy one to go back towards Ilya Zabani. Ukraine international now down towards Smith on the right-hand side, back to Ryan Christie. This is a quick bit of possession for Bournemouth, but no real progress.
No, and in fact Brentford are putting pressure on them this time and not just waiting for them in their own half, but the ball will break out for Kluivert, another opportunity for him.
Yeah, he does. He breaks into the penalty area again. He's been well marshalled there by Collins, and then his pass into the box is volleyed clear by Vitaly Janelt. Bournemouth trying again. It's a ball flicked over by Senesi towards the right-hand side, and as fast as Dango Ouattara is, he's not lightning quick. He's not going to be able to keep that one in play, and it's out for a throw. But frustration there for Kluivert. On 2 occasions he's been in a position where he can take on a defender to try and get the ball into the box. He's just not been able to do it.
No, it's right. You expect a little bit more from him. He turned Collins around as Ouattara's shot. It looked like he might have been on target, that left foot curler. Blocked away though again. You could argue, if you know your shot's going to get blocked, don't do it. But anyway, Ouattara's doing little bits and pieces, but here come the home team.
They do. Brentford again losing the ball in midfield. It's Christie's ball into the penalty area, trying to pick out Justin Kluivert once again. It's almost like Collins is on man marking duty for Justin Kluivert this afternoon, because he stops him and that ball just trickles into the arms of Mark Flekken.
Yeah, I think Bournemouth have started this half much better than they did the first half. I think from Brentford's point of view, I was banging the drum earlier this season for Damsgaard. We need to see him. He's a talent. But I'm hugely disappointed by him, when I watch him.
Yeah, I mean, he's been at Brentford now for a while, and I must admit, when he first signed for Brentford, I thought he was going to be their answer as that number 10, that creative midfielder amongst the sort of the robust midfielders either side. He's just not worked out for him. But Brentford on the attack now down the left here with Lewis Potter. He drops his shoulder, perhaps just overplays that one slightly, and that just allows for a challenge there from Ryan Christie, but he doesn't enjoy possession for very long. Janelt wins it back off him, and Brentford have the ball back here now with Norgard over towards Damsgaard. That's a really good ball to pick out Mbeumo on the right-hand side. He drops his shoulder, gets away from Lloyd Kelly, but then tries to force that ball across. I'm not sure if he has got a deflection on that, and it's just going to be out for a goal kick, I think.
Yeah, looks a bit disappointed, doesn't he? Kelly just doing enough there. He tried to tiptoe around him and get a bit of choke dust on his boots there as he picked up a good ball. He was a bit unlucky because it bounced right in front of him, and his initial move was good, but Kelly with those long legs, just able to get there and make life difficult, and then the ball went straight out, and now contested in midfield. It's a bit of an arm wrestle, really. 55 minutes gone, and we're hoping we get a goal. We think we're probably going to get a goal, but I don't quite know which way it's going, and there's another yellow card.
Yeah, it's a booking, and it's going to be a booking here for the foul on Christian Norgard. It looks as though it was Tara that just left a bit of a foot on him there, and referee Matt Donoghue say he's booked the Bournemouth manager in the first half, and now a Bournemouth player going in the book as well. It was a header from Norgard, and as he tried to control it, I mean, as I say, in this day and age, I'm not sure that is an automatic yellow there from on Otara. I think he could count as I was quite unlucky there, really.
Yeah, I mean, the ball comes out and he strikes at it, and he ends up on the toes of the opposite players. The cross comes in, but Lewis Potter's just again too much on.
There's no need for that as well. He's got time there, Lewis Potter. Nobody's closing him down. He's got to make the most of this little spell because of injuries to players. People like Kevin Schade, Mbeumo and Wissa sort of been rotated as they've had injuries, and of course Tony's been missing for half the season. So Lewis Potter potentially getting more game time than Thomas Frank would have initially planned for, and he's got to try and use it because from the start of next season we know that Igor Thiago's arriving. I also know that having heard your scouting report about him, you weren't too impressed with his performance for Club Brugge in midweek. But generally speaking, he has got the goals in the Belgian League this season. Whether or not he can translate that into the Premier League will only become apparent at the start of next season. But Brentford lose the ball here in midfield, and there's a chance for Bournemouth. Here comes Dango Ouattara down the right-hand side, tries to thread one in. It does get in towards Solanke, finds some support down the right from Smith, and his cross is towards the back post. A crucial header there from Damsgaard helping out in defence before Mbeumo coming all the way back to his own penalty area, and his clearance actually turns out like a really good ball for Damsgaard down the right-hand side, who then runs into trouble and wins his side a throw.
Yeah, I did Ivan Toney's replacement in midweek, and I tell you what, it's going to get old very soon, him unable to control the ball like he did in that game. But we'll see, won't we? Maybe I just saw him on a bad day, but you wouldn't assign him from what I saw in midweek.
Well, it's, as I say, it's always going to be a difficult one. Brentford have a decent strike rate, a very good strike rate, I would say, in terms of signing players. But, of course, no team has a perfect strike rate. You're always going to have signings that don't quite work out. As Bournemouth lose the ball in midfield, and suddenly it's Reguilon bursting forward here for Brentford. The pass to Lewis Potter is undercooked, but then there's a slip at the edge of the area from Zabani, and there's always going to be a free kick in favour of Bournemouth there. With this referee, the fact that Lewis Potter stood near Zabani was probably enough to convince Matt Donoghue that it was a foul.
Yeah, he not leaving anything to chance, is he, just in case. But, well, they got lucky and then unlucky there, didn't they, Brentford? Good break forward. And the ball just wouldn't be kind for them. They looked like they were going to wriggle through, didn't they, with a sort of rebound off Reguilon, maybe back to Lewis Potter in the box. It just didn't quite work out.
Didn't quite sit up the way that they would have wanted, as Brentford now playing out from the back with Flekken to Collins down the right-hand side. His attempted pass down the right wing is charged down by Justin Cliver, out for a throw to Brentford. Meanwhile, there's an equaliser at the London Stadium. West Ham 1, Luton Town 1. Certainly great news if you're a Nottingham Forest fan. Just to make sure there won't be any surprises from Luton. It was Lokonga that gave Luton the lead. It was James Ward-Prowse that's equalised for Southampton, and the fact that there's no mention of an assist makes me think that maybe it was a direct free kick from Ward-Prowse. He's certainly very good at those. But Brentford now in possession down the right-hand side. The pass to Ivan Toney is just a little bit off. I mean, considering that we've seen quite a bit of Mbeumo in this game, but not really seen that much of Toney, have we?
No, he's been very quiet, hasn't he? I was thinking I could make a case for him going to the Euros with England. You know, there's always that time, isn't there, when late in the game you think you're going to penalties, and I pretty much want him on at that point. Notwithstanding he's a good player, but we haven't really seen that today. He's hardly got on the ball.
No, he hasn't, and it's been a difficult sort of few weeks for Toney, really. He's not had the sort of service. He had a sort of minor injury, which meant he was out for a few games. Arguably Brentford's best away performance of the season was away at Luton when he wasn't in the team at all. But here come the Bees now down the right with Mbeumo, trying to get away here from Lloyd Kelly. Does well to hold the ball up, and then he plays in Norgard, who tries to thread one into the box. A tight angle. Lewis Potter going for goal. It's stopped on the line. Looked like Travers was beaten. I'm not sure that Lewis Potter really put his foot through that one, but it was stopped on the line in any case. Brentford have it back here in midfield with Ivan Toney. Drops slightly deeper this time. It's a ball into the box. Played back to Toney. Goes for goal, but there was just too many Bournemouth players. A line of defenders there in front of him, and the shot is charged down, and now Dango Atara can bring the ball out here for Bournemouth. He's over the halfway line. Going through the middle now, gets stopped. He wants a free kick. There was no foul though, and here come Brentford now down the left with Lewis Potter. Tony stayed offside, but he's going to be onside now by the time all the Bournemouth players come back, and then Lewis Potter, with virtually nobody under pressure, with no pressure on him whatsoever I should say, loses his balance and loses the ball. He's now stayed down on the ground. I don't know if he's picked up some sort of injury as he's done that, but in any case, he had the chance just a moment ago. It looked like he was beating Travers, but there on the line to stop it all, it looks like it was Ryan Christie.
Yeah, it's a decent move, isn't it? Nice little cushion ball forward, and all he could do was flick it down. It was a really good ball from the captain, Norgard. Lewis Potter just flicking it around the keeper. He's hoping it's enough to get it in, but the our defender's back. And probably Travis is, he's going to him because he knows that he's covered in behind him. So probably good goalkeeping in a way, that.
Tried to narrow the angle, of course. That's all that a keeper can do in that sort of situation. That certainly made an impact. Yoan Wissa is going to be the first change for Brentford this afternoon. He's not coming on yet, but he's ready to. We're going to see this throw on from Norgard first. He launches that one into the box. It's headed on. It's still lurking inside the 6-yard box before it gets a bit more of a hook on it there from one of the Brentford players. And it's out for a goal kick to Bournemouth. I think it was Pinnock that got the final touch on that one. So we're now going to see this change for the Bees. It's going to be a double change. Mats Röslev is going to be coming on as well. And this is a change for Christopher Ayers, like for like on that right-hand side. So Mats Röslev is on to play on the right. And wait to see who is going to be off for Wissa to have a go.
Lewis Potter, you would have thought.
I would have thought so, yeah, just to give a quick half an hour. The triple change, in fact. Norgard is going off as well as Lewis Potter. So, Brentford captain applauding that travelling support. And it's going to be Matthias Jensen to replace him. And, yeah, absolutely, Yoan Wissa on to replace Lewis Potter.
It's weird, isn't it? I didn't think he played badly, Lewis Potter, but that last little slip didn't help him. He's creating bits and pieces. He's got a few goals in him. I sort of like him playing inside left, but I think that Wissa has had a really good season. When Mbeumo and Toney were missing, I thought he stood up really well.
He did. I mean, he's gone from being a sort of super sub for Brentford. He initially had a bit of a reputation for scoring goals off the bench, and he scored a couple of big ones in his first season. But since then, he has been in the team a bit more, and he has had some good performances. He's also now a full international, similar to Bryan Mbeumo. Both those players are born in France, but taking an international call up from their parents' country. So it's Congo in the case of Wissa, and Cameroon as far as Mbeumo is concerned. Both sides want to throw here on the Bournemouth left and the Brentford right. Röslev still appealing, but the throw has gone Bournemouth's way, and this is in quite an attacking position. It's certainly in Brentford territory, although it's a long throw all the way back to the halfway line. So that sums up how Bournemouth are currently trying to approach things. It's safety first for them. They don't want to try and force the issue. And now it's Zabani going all the way back to Mark Travers.
It's interesting that Brentford now are sort of chasing. They didn't the first half. They dropped back into their own half and defended deep. Now they're holding their bodies out of the field and putting a little bit of a press on. And maybe it's like they said, we can't do it for 90 minutes, but we'll do it for the second half of the game. We'll press the ball higher up the field. That's to be commended. But they've stretched the game out now doing that as well. So there's more room for everybody in the middle.
There is, and just as we say that, a ball goes into the Brentford penalty area. It's been cleared, and after 64 minutes, we can now note down the first corner kick of the game for Bournemouth. That tells you something. Brentford have had 7 in the meantime, albeit most of those 7 corner kicks for Brentford haven't caused too many problems for the Bournemouth defence. We'll see what this set piece does as it's played towards the near post, and that is not too far away at all. It was a short, low ball whipped in towards the edge of the 6-yard box on the near post side, and it was a low, stooping header there from Lloyd Kelly that flashed across the 6-yard box on the angle and was very nearly in.
Yeah, you know what, he does his little foul before the ball gets to him. You've got to expect that. Again, it's Damsgaard, and I'm watching him just getting shoved out of the way. Then the ball comes, then he heads it. Whether it would have been choked off that, I'm not sure, because of what was such an obvious push before. But that's time honoured. You get your little foul in way before the ball comes. Damsgaard was just shrugged straight off the ball, and it allowed him an easy header.
It did, and long clearance now as Tony had to avoid making sure he didn't touch that ball as it was going up from Kelly. Brentford now on the left with Sergio Reguilon. Back to Matthias Jensen. Switching play over towards the right-hand side. Bit of a heavy touch there from Collins, and in the end it just plays it forward to no one in particular. And here come Bournemouth now. It's with Otara into the penalty area. Here is a chance here now for Solanke. His strike is charged down though by Ethan Pinnock. Out for a throw to Bournemouth down the right-hand side. Into Adam Smith. Now it's Ryan Christie playing from the right. On his left foot. I thought he might fancy a go at the edge of the deep, but he just plays it square to Lewis Cook. Over towards the left-hand side now. Back towards Marcos Senesi. He tries the deep cross into the penalty area. Both teams have their arms up saying it should be our ball. I actually thought there was an argument there to say it should be a corner, because I thought it might have come off the back of Ethan Pinnock, but it's out for a goal kick to Brentford.
Yeah, I thought Solanke might have headed it onto Pinnock there, but I'm not sure. Anyway, we'll take a look. Ball comes in. I think it's definitely off the back of Pinnock.
I think so. I think that should be a corner kick to Bournemouth. But thankfully, we're not using VAR to review corner kick decisions yet. I dare say that would never come to that. Double change now being readied here for Bournemouth. And Donny Raiola wants to get a couple of players on the field. Looks like I saw a 16 of Tavernier. I think he's going to be coming on. And Kluivert going to be the first player to get the hook. So it's going to be Kluivert and Otara, the two forward players here. Coming off for Bournemouth, and it's Unal and Tavernier coming on to replace them.
Yeah, I don't know. I've watched Enes Unal fairly recently, and again, another one who's sort of busting a gut, but because he is almost proving ineffective. But he's a good header of the ball, and Tavernier's a good provider. So I bet Ouattara looks great in the five-a-sides and all that, but he's definitely got stuff about him. He's a dribbler, he's quick and all that, but he just didn't have any effect.
Funny you mentioned the five-a-side. I could imagine that someone like Ouattara being a bit more lively and active than someone like Tavernier, but then Tavernier's probably more consistent once he comes to the Saturday.
Well, yeah, exactly. So they can do what they like in training, and I bet you think, oh, he's the right player, you know. But 11-a-side's a very different thing, isn't it? As we see the Bees playing out from the back there, very nearly
risky there
caught.
from Flekken. The first pass out was really a little bit under hit. But the Brentford keeper now has it back, and again he slices the ball. Although he knew what he was doing there, it wasn't like a miss kick. But Brentford just in danger of becoming a little bit too complacent at the edge of their own penalty area. There are two Bournemouth players lurking should there be any more mistakes from the Bees keeper. He plays a slightly longer ball out towards Jensen, but Brentford have exchanged around 10 passes now, and they're still only at the edge of their own box. It's now Yano over towards Collins, and he's pushing a bit further forward, up towards the halfway line now. Damsgaard playing a ball over the top. Tony with a bit of a heavy touch, but it wasn't the best ball to him. Damsgaard does well in midfield just to try and hustle and win that ball back. He's fighting with Lewis Cook, and in the end Cook is able to just marshal that one out for a throw. Bit of pushing between those two. Looks like Damsgaard wasn't happy, but Lewis Cook isn't too bothered. We've got a third goal at the London Stadium, and it's gone from bad to worse for Luton. A draw wouldn't have done much for them this afternoon, but now they're 2-1 down.
How many times they've taken the lead and then things not worked out?
You know? I mean, of course, one of the most famous ones was at this very stadium that we're commentating on from this afternoon, to the Vitality, when they went 3-0 up and somehow managed to lose the game 4-3. But here come Bournemouth now, pushing forward here down the right-hand side with Semenyo, runs straight into a Brentford man and gives the free kick away as well, says the referee. Looks like Jensen with the headband is down on the ground. Semenyo can't believe it, and the referee is calling him over here for a bit of a quick word as well. As I say, I hope he doesn't get too much of a telling off here, because based on what we've seen from the referee this afternoon, I'm not so sure there was too much in that. I mean, he's got his arm out, but it's only because he's trying to stop himself from falling. And I suppose it is a free kick to Brentford, but again, there's no intent there, I think, from Semenyo to foul the man, is there?
Yeah. That's it. Is there any intent? Not at all. The ball slightly gets away from him, he's off balance. These things happen, you've just got to work it out. What is, what isn't. If you don't know, you're not going to be much of a referee, are you? And again, it's a bit early in this fella's career in the Premier League, but I would say he doesn't know. and maybe he hasn't kicked a ball before. It's a shame they can't fast track some of the former players into refereeing positions. What do they call it? Poacher turned gamekeeper, that kind of thing, because they ought to know better. But I don't know where they get these guys from.
Well, it's a long-standing problem that grassroots refereeing is always short of numbers, because anyone that's ever been on a park pitch on a Sunday morning, even watching the under-8s, can understand why nobody wants to referee that. I mean, some of the abuse they get is quite awful, and even now it's got to the point now where actually the FA have had to fund some Sunday League referees to wear body cams just to show how much abuse they actually get. So that in itself means there's nothing coming up from grassroots. And it obviously means that the field to choose from is slightly limited. But just to tell you very quickly that Wolves have now pulled a goal back against Crystal Palace. They're 2-1 down. It's Mateus Cunha with the goal for them. And the second goal for West Ham was scored by Thomas Soucek. Wolves, as Bournemouth now on the attack now down the right-hand side. It's a challenge there from Röslev. It goes out for a throw. No, it doesn't. It stays in play here for Christie. Plays it back into the middle. We're at 70 minutes here. It is Bournemouth 0, Brentford 0, and it will be John to take us through to full time.
Yeah, thanks, Paul. I'm beginning to despair of this goal coming, but anyway, another errant pass. Although Semenya fights hard to win it back, the ball breaks to Damsgaard, and he flicks it out with his feet. Here's an attack, and they've got bodies forward. They've got 3 against 2. If they use the ball wisely out the right-hand side, 2 in the box. And it breaks kindly here. There's a foul. Surely that's got to be a penalty kick. Referee points to the spot. It is a penalty for Brentford, and quite right too. There's no getting away from that. They had the numbers. When the ball came in the box, there's a little cut for Ivan Toney. Definitely brought down, I felt, from behind, and it couldn't be any clearer.
Well, the referee is trying to calm all these Bournemouth players down who are kicking off. Iraiola's already trying to tell his piece to the fourth official, Tim Robinson. I mean, Tony's saying that he's been pushed. I mean, I don't think there's too much doubt of this one. The referee has given a lot of soft free kicks this afternoon. I mean, it's not a huge foul there from Zabani, but then has he got the ball? No. Has he brought the man down? Yes. Has he stopped Tony from taking a shot? Yes. So I suppose all the boxes are ticked. I can't imagine VAR would correct the referee here.
No, not at all. Well, VAR is taking a look. I mean, he's got 2 hands on the back of him there. Blunders in.
I think that the suggestion is that Tony's felt the hands on his back and then has perhaps exaggerated the fall. But then we're getting into some real details there, because of course how much can the referees decide as to whether it's an intentional fall or a push? The referee is going to go watch the replay now.
Yeah, I mean, he gave it straight away, and he might still give it. I think it's a penalty because I think Zabani's got the wrong side. The ball's cut back. He controls it. He wants to get his shot away.
I think that the big question mark for me is that Tony has exaggerated this. He's felt the 2 hands on his back, and as I say, it's one of those where on another occasion, on a different game, a different play, you'd say it's a penalty. But I just think that the way in which Tony sort of straightens up as soon as he feels that touch there from Zabani, that tells me that potentially there might be some doubt in this one.
Right. But if I'm mitigating for Ivan Toney, I'm saying, right, I'm in on goal. Why on earth at this point would I go to ground? Because I've got a clear sight of the goal. I'm getting my left foot ready, and I'm going to side foot in. He feels something at the back, somebody coming at a quick rate of knots blundering into him. And oftentimes you don't get it if you don't go down. So I have not a problem with what Tony's done there. I think it should be a penalty kick, but is the referee going to give it or not? Well, let's see. I don't know what he's signalling here.
I couldn't work out that signal either. I think the referee has said that it's not going to be a penalty after all of this. Ivan Toney certainly isn't happy. He's now trying to understand why the referee's made the decision that he has done. But I think I completely agree that Tony should just be trying to stay on his feet and shoot. But when he feels Zabani's contact, that's when he hits the deck. I think the argument is that even though there's 2 hands on him, I think the referee, the VAR, has argued that that's not enough to bring Tony down. And the referee, having seen that replay, has agreed. So it's going to be a drop ball to Bournemouth by the looks of it.
Yeah, I don't like that decision, really.
What I don't like about it is that I'm pretty sure that on a different day, a different referee in a different opposition, that penalty would stand. I think that it seems to me like it's one of those where it's almost because of the way this game's gone. There've been a couple of controversial free kicks and things for Bournemouth, sorry, for Brentford, and one of the goals was disallowed, was quite controversial as well. So it's almost like VAR's trying to sort of level it off. In the meantime, Brentford have made a change here as well. Kevin Schade is on for the Bees. Just waiting to see confirmation as to who he's actually replaced. It's Mikkel Damsgaard who's got the hook.
Yeah, I'm not really that surprised at that. But anyway, getting back to what we were talking about, I thought Brentford should have had a penalty. I think he's goal side there. And when Zabani gets to him, he's not coming from the side, he's coming from the back. And when you're feeling pressure on you like that, and they're saying, well, go down, mate. Don't try and be a hero at that point. Zabani's not, he's tackling from the back, if you like. He makes contact. And it's the kind of contact he's been giving free kicks for Reguilon now on the burst here. Again, he drives forward, and again, he just can't find that final ball.
I completely agree that based on the free kicks this referee's given this afternoon, that is a penalty. But because his friends aren't going to correct him, if his VAR friends aren't going to correct him for a free kick on the halfway line, they just have to sort of let that one go. But when they've seen something similar in the box, they've decided to correct it.
Well, again, I think we get back to the video that he's going to watch of his part in this game, where he's saying you're getting mugged all the time, but you'd set a standard, and then you decided that standard wasn't right. What is right then? Are you good enough to referee at this level or not? And from what we've just seen, I think the answer is no. Very weak. Anyway, it's still goalless. Jimmy Floyd Hasselbank looking on from the stand.
Let's see what his connection is with this game. Is he just a VIP guest, being an ex-Premier League man?
I don't know if he's got a coaching job for one of the teams in the Euros or something like that. I think he'd been a decent coach, hadn't he? And I'm not sure if he'd not some link to the Netherlands or something. But anyway, the little flick on there now from Shade, and the ball goes out. Anyway, so it's Bournemouth 0, Brentford 0, and it's been a funny old game, really. I don't know what to make of it. I suppose that, for the neutral, what we might regard as mistakes by the referee have evened out. But it shouldn't be like that.
No, it shouldn't. As I say, I mean, the fact that VAR sometimes does get involved to sort of level things off, and it's almost in-game management. It's a phrase that I've heard a couple of ex-referees, including the former referee and consultant at Nottingham Forest, Mark Clattenburg, has said that a couple of times, that it's the idea that you're trying to sort of not level things up, but you're trying to sort of manage the game, manage a particular player or a manager. Referees shouldn't really be doing that. They should just be reffing the game. But the fact that they take all these other thoughts on means that sometimes their original job of actually reffing the match gets clouded a little bit, I think.
Yeah, more than clouded. Yeah, it shouldn't be about politics. It should be just about making the right decision. Oftentimes the referee doesn't get the view that we get, and we think, well, he made a rick of that. But that's what VAR should, come and take another look. You may have got it right, you may have got it wrong. Not just, we're making you look because this time we think you've got it wrong, or politically it's right to balance the books or something. And a bit of that, I think, has happened today anyway. We'll break off because Brentford have got a corner kick now, an opportunity for them. Like we said, they're a fairly big team. So Collins and Pinnock. Ruslev as well, who's come on. He's way over 6 foot, so he's part of it. Tony just scraping 6 foot, isn't he, Ivan Tony? But anyway, there's a loaded box now. The ball goes short. Jensen flicks the ball to the far post. It looked like there'd be a free header there for Wissa, I think, but he couldn't quite get there. He's still hovering in the box. The next header is for Brentford, but the ball just bounces kindly into the hands of Travers, and he'd be able to clear his lines.
Yeah, long clearance there from Travers. It was Pinnock that won that header to try and get Brentford to sort of maintain that Brentford attack after the initial corner. Then a good work there from Ruslev, diving header back towards Mark Flekken just to stop any chances of a Bournemouth counter.
Yeah, so not quite the game of excitement. We did talk about beach football before a ball was kicked today. it's not been that, but it's just lacked a little bit. West Ham have made it safe against Luton.
As I say, it's not beach. It's not on the beach because these two teams are trying, but maybe just that little bit of lack of sharpness because they know that there's not too much riding on this game other than potentially going up by one league place. And you mentioned West Ham, I mean, we're hearing of a potential third goal there for the Hammers. So that could be all over for Luton as far as obviously it won't be mathematically all over today, but they're just starting to run out of games now, aren't they?
Yeah, it's right. It was always going to be a tall order for them. Like I say, oft times they've grabbed the first goal or second or third and still not made it stick. You can't do that. Here, Shada is breaking forward. The ball rolls through the box. Wissa keeps it alive at the edge of the area now with Mbeumo. And what kind of shot was that? Hard to describe, but it wasn't on target. And leaning back, you know where the ball goes, and also as well as going at high. It went wide too, but...
no, there was absolutely no danger of that ever being on target. Double switch now being readied here by Bournemouth. Looks like they're getting ready to bring on Alex Scott, as well as Tyler Adams, of course, who's not had as many appearances for Bournemouth this season. He's had a few injury problems, hasn't he?
Yeah, he has. Missed most of the season, really, but I think it showed he got a competitive edge, so Smith and Christie go off for Scott and Tyler Adams. So, I think they're more attack-minded with this move. I'm really excited about Alex Scott, but he's had, let's just say, a mixed season, really. I wasn't certain he was going to take the Premier League by storm, but I thought he'd be comfortable and, and be showing us and people would be raving about him. That hasn't happened. He hasn't settled down in the division yet.
He hasn't, no. As I say, there's quite a big, obviously, price tag on him, moving from one English club to another, from a strong Championship team into a Premier League team. So it's going to take a little while. But you certainly say that the potential and the style of play, the fact that he is a confident player that wants to get forward, you'd imagine that given more time, he should be able to find his feet.
Yeah, absolutely. He's on the ball right now. When I first saw him for Bristol City, I just thought, wow, And he was head and shoulder above anything else in the Championship at that point. I felt anyway. As Lloyd Kelly has made ground at the field, but the referee's given another weird free kick.
Yeah, there'll be some discussions, I think, about Matt Donohue's performance. I certainly don't want to dwell on it because it's such a tough job being a referee. Sometimes I see a replay 3 or 4 times and I'm still not sure as to what the right decision is. So how these guys do it in real time it is a very difficult job, but he's allowing himself to just... It's almost like if somebody hits the deck, it's a free kick, and referees have got to be far more selective than that, particularly in this day and age.
Yeah, my other thought about that is, I mean, you're quite right. Nobody said it was going to be easy. You've got to judge in a split second. If you're not in a good position or you're uncertain, then life's going to be difficult. But it's a profession, it's their job. You'd like to think if they're getting paid money for it, they're going to be decent at it. At least that would be my understanding. But I think it also helps if you've kicked a ball in your life. And like I said, it's a shame they can't get some of the former pros to... once they've sort of hung up their boots to do it, but a lot of them, particularly at this level, made that much money, they don't need to work again, do they? So they certainly won't be bothered refereeing anyway. We'll break off as here Bournemouth on the move, but Ethan Pinnock, who's had a pretty good game, I would say. He's able just to clear away.
He's had a good game. He's had a good season there. I mean, at some point, all of Brentford's regular centre-backs have had injury problems, whether it's been Pinnock, whether it's been Collins. Ben Mee's been missing for large parts of the season as well. And now we are going to see a change in midfield here for the visitors. It's going to be Vitaly Janelt to go off and a promising young Ukrainian midfielder Yeho Yarmolyuk to replace him.
Yeah, so... I've seen this kid before, and I rate him. Typically, I look at Janelt and think he's been tidy and put a lot of energy into the game. As ever, it's that midfield 3 for Brentford, and I sort of shrugged my shoulders a little bit. They're all right, but I'm never wowed by them.
No, well, this is the point that I think a lot of Brentford fans were expecting that Damsgaard was going to step in and be that sort of flair player, number 10, to go alongside the workman-like defensive midfielders that Brentford have, and he hasn't really stepped up to it. And I think Brentford have been exposed on more than one occasion this season as missing that creativity in midfielders. Here come Bournemouth on the attack, a throw from the left-hand side. almost gets through towards Solanke, but out comes Flekken and makes a save.
I mean, every team could do with one of these, but maybe a Pascal Gross type of player.
Exactly that. So somebody who can, when you ask him, I mean, Pascal Gross is a great example because I think other than playing in goal and at centre-back, he's pretty much played everywhere for Brighton, hasn't he? He's certainly played out wide, he's played in a defensive role, and he's played in an attacking role as well.
Yeah, he's very good at it as well. A few goals and him assists, just a clever footballer, really. Anyway, ball booted out by Flekken. It's gone long. But then the next ball is won by the Cherries. Scott flicks it down the line. There's a little skirmish going on. Pinnock wins the first duel, but then his long leg comes out and he catches Scott, and that will be a free kick.
It will, yeah. Just to tell you that Burnley, who were in front at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium at one point, they were level at half-time, and now they are 2-1 down after a late goal from Mickey van der Ven. So Spurs now 2-1 up against Burnley.
Yeah, their season was limping to an end, wasn't it? And Burnley were a bit resurgent, but always a tough place to go.
I think that hammering against Newcastle the other week I saw just sort of really derailed them. Just when it looked as though they were starting to pick up a little bit of form, they get to the game, and now I say losing today is going to be very tough as there's a strong... Well, I'll tell you what, that's he's got to be careful. Jensen's only just been booked for that challenge a few seconds earlier. Now he's committed another foul, but here come Bournemouth now down the right.
Yeah, Semenyo on the ball, driving into the box, just about. And he gets it out with his feet, just the edge of the area. Maybe a chance for a strike here. A little mazy dribble. The ball laid back to Cook. Terrible ball in. He might get it back. He does get it back. Finds Semenyo again. His touch leaves a lot to be desired, and the ball just taken off him. But was it toe-ended out? I think the answer is yes. Yeah, Yemaluk just getting on the end of that one, but unwittingly putting the ball out. That will be a corner kick then for the Cherries. Sun's still shining at the Vitality, but I suppose they're building up a little bit of a head of steam right now. But neither goalkeeper has had an awful lot to do. Anyway, it's a corner for the Cherries. Cook's gone short for it. Be an easy ball, that, really. Very likely to get it, and he does. Puts the first-time ball in. Outswinger, easy for Flekken, who comes and collects. Neither team from set-piece have been particularly good today.
No, they haven't. The crosses are either been overhit or they've been far too close to the goalkeeper. There's been very few balls into the box that anyone can actually attack, as Wissa now plays a great first-time ball through towards Mbeumo, and out of absolutely nothing on 86 minutes, Brentford take the lead, and it's all come from a long punt out from Mark Flekken, and then a first-time lovely cushion pass there from Wissa, and then Mbeumo does the rest.
Yeah, I mean, we were wondering whether we were going to get a goal, but that was a lovely finish from Mbeumo, playing centre forward at this point, and just quick thinking from Flekken, gets it moving. He decided he's going to punt long, and it's a smashing ball, that. It's a first-time cushion ball from Wissa. It's a great shot from Mbeumo, left foot strike, but what Flekken did, his ball is a beauty. And it's a first touch from the Wissa on his inside. It's a superb goal.
It is. I mean, it's the kind of goal that Brentford like to score, from a goalkeeper to from your goalkeeper catching the ball to your striker actually scoring the goal. There's only been a few touches in between, but it's, as I say, the vision from Flekken. That's something that a lot of Brentford fans were concerned about at the start of the season, that he doesn't have that range of passing that David Raya does, which he doesn't. But in fairness, he's been getting better as the season's gone on, and there's proof of that. That wasn't even a pass. That was a punt kick out of his hands straight to Wissa, and the cushion pass from Wissa was superb.
Yeah, it was a great goal, that. And that will live fairly long in the memory. I do remember saying I thought that Flekken was the worst goalkeeper in the Premier League at one point this season, but I don't believe that now. I think he's definitely improved.
You've seen Muric or Gerbic then, no?
No, I've never seen him. So he's the man, is he? Anyway, it's a good goal, that, for Brentford. Bournemouth were just getting on top, weren't they? But not much you can do with a lightning strike like that. And we might be getting a bit of lightning at the end of today, apparently. A few storms about. We'll break off because here is Lewis Cook. Wide right, goes back to Semenyo. He drops the shoulder. Can he get a left foot shot away? Just lays it off. Scott then, and now Zabani's got further forward as, clearly the home team here desperate to win the game, or at least, get a point out of it. They'd been going all right, but that goal's sort of a sucker punch, really. I think it'd been good value for him. Might have had a penalty earlier, but anyway. Here is Alex Scott on the ball. He's got it in his feet, sort of plays with his socks down almost. There's Alex Scott. He is a talented player. I wonder if he's quite got the pace. And he looks quite heavy as well, I think. I wonder. But anyway, the ball with Semenyo again. As he evades a challenge. And, well, they're struggling to get going yet. Unal in the middle is waiting for good ball in like Dom Solanke. But whether they can feed them is another story. Tavernier out there, but the ball's come from deep. Solanke rises for it. Oh, the ball's in the back of the net. And it's Solanke. Well, they had two big men in there, and Solanke gets his header away, loops over the goalkeeper, and that's one apiece.
It is one apiece. It's a great header from Dominic Solanke, but you do have to wonder where Flekken was for this. Has he just been rooted to the spot? He couldn't react to where the header had gone. Just whilst we're waiting for that all to be confirmed, just to tell you, Newcastle were in front against Brighton, but offside in the build-up means Anthony Gordon's goal won't count. Palace are now 3-1 up against Wolves away after a goal from Eze, but Akamada's been sent off in that one. We're going to see as this ball is played in, there's no offside. I mean, the demarking from Brentford is awful. It has to be said. It's not even a case of it being bad. It's just awful. That ball is always winnable, in my opinion, for Pinnock, and he just doesn't win it.
Yeah, I've got to give credit first to Senesi. It's a good ball in. Pinnock's in position, really. But, Solanke, it's a good ball for him to attack. He gets a good leap in. He gets a good loop on his header. There's nothing not to like about that. And Solanke reminds us that he's a very good striker. As now Semenyo on his bike. He leaves two for dead, can flick the ball forward here. It's a bit unlucky, but also it's good stuff from Mbeumo getting back. 9 minutes of added time.
Where got that from?
I don't quite know.
Where is 9 minutes? I mean, there was a VAR check, but even so, there's not been many injuries. But still gives both teams a chance to win it now as Bournemouth on the attack. A strike coming in from Unal is blocked, and it's a long way wide in the end.
Yeah, I mean, he played in there by Scott. Nice little turn in the middle of the park. To getting around Yarmouk, and then Unal. I thought it might have gone off the toe end of
I did initially as well, but he's hit it that far wide. He's actually just gone wide off his own boot.
So yeah, caught it with the Q end of the boot, and so the ball is back with Flekken. Solanke's effort timed on 89 minutes, and that was after a cracking goal for the Bees. So we wondered if we were going to get one goal today, and all of a sudden, like buses, they two turn up as Brentford have won the ball high up the field. Here they go again with Wissa out to wide right. Lloyd Kelly stands him up, the ball into the box, blocked by Senesi, and then Kelly should be able to clear his line. He's put under pressure by Roslev's done well there, I think, just to hold him in at the corner. And then Collins comes deep to make sure that Bournemouth can't make any progress over the halfway line. So Bournemouth won, Brentford won quite how and why. Two good goals, really. You might argue they were poor defending, and there we would argue that, Collins a silly foul, really, on Unal. As a ball cleared away with Semenyo looking to go forward. He takes a throw from an advanced position there from where the ball went out. Yarmouk forced to go back to his keeper, but that's all right. Unal seemingly brought down in a little duel there, but he's picked himself up and he's all right. And the referee didn't see anything for once. And so the ball for Flekken, booted down the field, little flick on header. It'll be kept alive, will it, by Tonic? Just couldn't quite heel it back. The ball just seemed to have top spin on it that took it away. Who's going to be happy at 1-1 when they go back in?
Well, I think both... Brentford will probably be frustrated at taking the lead so late on and then conceding, but then Bournemouth would point to the fact that they probably had a pretty good goal disallowed in the first half with that small foul on Collins. So it's one of those where I think that a draw is probably the right result, but I think Brentford, just because they took the lead and then conceded after that, I think they'll be frustrated with that.
Yeah, maybe saw Regri on there just walking a little bit gingerly. He was off the field. I don't know if he's come back on just yet. Still 6 minutes to go. It's a long time, and we have no idea where they found this time. Ridiculous, really. I thought maybe 4 minutes, but anyway, we'll break off because here come Bournemouth into the box. They go, and the shot comes in blocked away at the near post. That's going to be a corner kick. I think maybe Tavernier could have done a little bit better, but he's got something for his efforts. Was he going for goal there? No, he was looking to cut
He
back.
was trying to drive that across the 6-yard box, wasn't he? But the deflection takes it away for a corner kick, and plenty arriving inside the penalty area now.
Yep, as ever, Dom Solanke a target. He's got his goal today. Be feeling good about himself. Again, he shows you a proper number 9. And here, the ball into the box to the far post and flicked on, but by a Brentford head. And they're trying to make some ground now with Sharda. The ball has gone out off Bournemouth toe end, so it will be a throw-in for the Bees. Senesi, he looks like he's not moving too well right now, but anyway, it is a throw. It looked like a foul throw to me, but anyway, with Tony, and then he's giving the ball away into the box here. A real opportunity. Unel picks it up, and Pinnock is just pushing him away. The ball won back by Brentford. There was a terrible pass in that from Ivan Toney, but now Mbeumo's on the ball. He's got a chance to run at Zabani. In fact, no, he goes out wide right. And so an opportunity then to take on Kelly. Into the box he goes, Mbeumo. And the ball to the byline. His shot comes in. What a goal from Yoan Wissa. Right foot. Found the angle. Lovely play in the build-up. And what a goal again. You talked about him coming off the bench scoring goals. He's done it again.
Ivan who? Sorry. Because, as I say, I mean, all of Brentford's best attacking moments today have come with Mbeumo and Wissa hooking up. And this time it's Mbeumo with the assist, Wissa with the finish. And it's a very tight angle here for Yoan Wissa. But again, Bournemouth just sending too many players forward, not tracking back quickly enough. Brentford easily staying on side as this move starts down the right-hand side. And Mbeumo takes on Kelly, spots the run of Wissa. It's a tight angle, but it's a really good finish.
It's a really good run from Wissa, isn't it? You know, he realises he's waiting for the cutback to start with, and it's not going to come to him. Right, where do I go? And then it's a perfect ball to him. It's still a difficult finish because he's really tight, isn't he, there on the sort of inside right channel. Look at Mbeumo, a little step over. He's got the ball on a string in the box. Again, it's another great goal, isn't it, for Brentford? They've scored 2 absolute beauties today.
They have, and with still 3.5 minutes of injury time to play, maybe even more than that because we've lost a bit of time with the celebrations for this goal. We'll wait and see whether or not there's going to be another response from Bournemouth, but Brentford will be absolutely delighted with this, scoring twice towards the end of this game. Can they now hold on for all 3 points? But from Bournemouth's point of view, they'll be disappointed with how that goal went in. Yeah,
some of the home fans now have had enough, just trudging out. One of those days, I guess. But you've got to give credit to the away team. They've played up. You know, we talked about the bench. Wissa having a good season, I thought. We said when he came on that when there was no Mbeumo or Tony to pick, he stood up tall this season. They could have really tailed off at that point, but they kept going. Here, Lewis Cook ball into the box. It doesn't quite work out. Yamaluk is beaten, and then there's a little foul. Is by Cook, just left a leg in there. I felt he feels hard done by, but he just caught Sharda there, who striker by trade, but playing in midfield at the minute, isn't he? While they're just sorting things out.
Yeah, absolutely. Having to just be a little bit out of position here. And there was just a bit of a challenge, a bit of a rake from Lewis Cook there, and he certainly wasn't happy. I don't know if he was unhappy with the decision or he was unhappy with his teammates perhaps leaving him where they did. But Yoan Wissa into double figures for the first time this season whilst playing in England. His best season as a striker was back in the 1920 season where he got 15 goals for Lorient, but that was in the French second division. So he's sort of really maturing into a really good forward, and as I say, he'll be delighted with the impact he's had today. Yeah,
what I like about the goals is the interplay between the two players. Really, they both made an assist for each other. Wissa and Mbeumo as Ivan Toney gets booked there, a bit of time wasting, a bit of dark arts and all that, but you sort of suspect that's going to happen. He just jumped into
he did, Senesi. But he's to say it's been a tough few weeks for Ivan Toney. When he first returned from Brentford, everyone noticed that the Bees were playing better with him in the team. But the last month or so, he's been in and out of the team. There was that big sort of argument he had with. I think it was with Collins after the Wolves game or after the Burnley game, where the two of them always had to be separated as well. But here come Bournemouth. They haven't said the last word yet. As the ball comes into the penalty area, it might still drop here for Solanke before it's quickly hooked away by Roslev.
Yeah, and then he thumps it down the field. Yeah, well, we said that Brentford at one apiece would be the team would be unhappy having taken it late, but there's a player gone down there, a facial injury, seemingly to Collins, I think it is. So time off the clock as well.
Never mind the Brentford physios. It's it looks like the ambulance people are getting ready to come on the field here. So they've obviously spotted very quickly that there might be a serious facial injury or some sort of cut there as well. But for the time being, they're sort of walking along the touchline without being too urgent. So maybe it was just a false alarm. But with just a few seconds to go here in injury time, we might be playing this game a little bit longer.
Yeah, maybe. I've got an appointment with the 5:30 game, which where Forest will be hoping for the best, but Chelsea have been resurgent, haven't they? So I think my money would be on Chelsea for that one at the City Ground, but we'll see.
Pressure's off Forest in many ways because they now know that both Burnley and Luton have lost this afternoon. But the game at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium has finished now. Spurs 2, Burnley 1. They're into the 7th minute of injury time where West Ham lead 3-1 against Luton. So Luton are going to lose that game as well. So Forest know they're pretty much in a position now where as long as they get 1 point between now and the end of the season, they should be okay. But we're getting replays of the 2 Brentford goals now, whilst we still wait for this injury to be checked over.
Yeah, and I've got a long day ahead of me doing the MK Dons Crawley later as well on me Todd. So I'm not exactly looking forward to that. But anyway, plenty of football on, and these playoff games can be absolute crackers.
They can. I remember a few seasons ago doing a game between I think it was Newport and Forest Green, which is fantastic. It was a great game with late goals and drama, but. As I say, in your game later today, of course, it's going to be a bit of a miracle for MK Dons to get through, having lost the first leg 3-0.
Yeah. So that puts it in perspective. We've got 100 minutes on the board. I've done more. I had one game that went to 102 this season, but it's not what you want really. It looks like Collins is all right. How did that happen to him? Well, the ball. I don't know. I mean, the ball hit him in the face. I don't really know how he got injured.
There doesn't seem to be too much from that replay. And so when he went down, we had about 40 seconds of the 9 minutes we're supposed to have.
I don't think it was the facial injury. The ball hit him in the face, but I think it's when he came down.
Yeah, I think he's landed awkwardly. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah. So, he, again, another one who looks a little bit ginger as he walks away. But he's had treatment. I don't think they'll bring him back anyway. It's Sharda now on his bike over the halfway line. And he's just going to run it to the flag, I would have thought, and he does just that. And eventually, then, as the ball taken away, it's good play by Scott, who was fouled in that anyway. But he took the ball off him cleanly, and then Shardy just stands in front of the free kick, and Lewis Cook just dragging him away. The two have a little push and pull-in match. Pinnock goes over the top of Unal. Unal was making a back from. I hate that, I think the referees need to look at that. The Pinnock there just picks himself up.
The referee needs to look at his watch here, doesn't he? But we're coming up to 12 minutes of added time in a game that shouldn't have even had half of the added time that was showed in the first place. Anyway,
they're playing until it gets dark. Like we used to do this time of year. It's Semenyo on the ball. Got to be a last chance here for Bournemouth at the edge of the box. It's Alex Scott. Just flicks the ball into the far post, up go the heads. Unal was there, but he couldn't get what he wanted out of that, and I think it's going to be a goal kick. And when that ball's booted out, I suspect our referee blows his whistle, but why he doesn't do it now, I don't know.
Well, some referees have started doing that recently, where they don't wait for the keeper to put the ball down, then kick it to end the game. He should just be ending the game here now, our referee, Matt Donoghue, but for whatever reason, he's still waiting for Flekken to clear it.
Well, all right, then if he were waiting this long, should we mark him out of 10? I'm giving him 4.
He's not getting more than 4 from me either. No. No. I mean, he's not had a good game. He's bought a couple of poor fouls, and as I say, there's been a couple of other issues as well. But it's a work in progress, of course, like it is for most young referees.
Yeah, so we're still waiting. 102-27 now. So the ball is booted up in the air, and the referee's still waiting, and we're waiting. What are we waiting for, ref? Anyway, seems to have lost his watch. As Tony introduces himself, Sabani puts it in the air, but eventually the referee, what's he giving? He's giving a free kick now. He hadn't stopped it. So one last chance here, but quite where the time has come from, I do not know.
There was never 9, and now we've had 13 minutes of added time. This is quite ridiculous here now.
It is. Anyway, yeah, they... some of the fans maybe don't want to go on, but I do at some point, so I wouldn't mind this being over with. But anyway, Cook and Shard having a set two there. The ball's up in the air and it's headed away. Referee this time will blow his whistle, thankfully, 103 minutes in. But the long and short of it is that the final score at the Vitality, Bournemouth 1, Brentford 2. Thanks for joining us.